Hello and welcome back to Up the Villa. Welcome to Transfer Hub, your home of Aston Villa's transfer news, links, rumours, noise, murmurings, incomings and outgoings. Diego Carlos has joined Fenerbahçe. We'll talk about that in a second, but we've got bigger things to talk about, and we've got to talk about Monaco 1, Aston Villa 0. And make sure you are subscribing to the channel. Get on the journey with us. Comment your thoughts in the comment section down below and hit the like button. Let's try and get in and around 700 likes on this one. We're close to 23k as well, so help me get there. Help me get there. Right. Monaco 1, Aston Villa 0. Woke up and I am still very, very disappointed, annoyed, frustrated. And Unai Emery is feeling exactly the same. Unai Emery is absolutely fuming with the mentality of the team, with the way in which that game went, and absolutely rightly so. On my match reaction last night, I was very angry, very annoyed, and very disappointed. And I stand by everything that I said, and I still feel exactly the same today. Because within Unai Emery's tenure at Aston Villa, the short tenure, he's not been here that long, has he? I have always said that Aston Villa are by far from the finished article. I think we can all agree that we are building to become the finished Unai Emery team. And why I was so angry and annoyed at the performance was to get to become the finished article, you have to go through certain scenarios. You have to go through situations where it's a little bit of a checklist that you can tick things off that makes you feel like, oh, actually, no, I'll back us there. Oh, no, do you know what? Like, we've got that within us, within what we are, to be able to achieve things. And I felt like the game against Monaco was one of those moments where it would have given us and me and the team and you guys at home a massive chink within our sort of mindset of, oh, do you know what? We had that. We grasped that. We took that opportunity. And going into given situations in the future, we're going to be able to rely on this. And what I'm talking about is getting into the top 8, having an opportunity right in front of us where we know what's at stake. We shouldn't really have to take motivation from someone to be able to see what's right in front of us. So what I'm talking about is win that game against Monaco, cement your place in the top 8, and you might only need to get a draw against Celtic or win at Villa Park, which we've been really good in the Champions League. Take a team to Villa Park. We're in the top 8. You come and beat us. So that mindset of being able to rise, stand up, take the opportunity, and go into that next phase was absolutely huge for me, to becoming part of a finished article team, to have that correct mentality, to have the application to be able to go into a game, get the job done, and go forward. And we weren't able to do it. And it is absolutely infuriating that we just weren't able to do that. We weren't able to be the best version of ourselves. We weren't able to step up and rise and grasp the opportunity, because Monaco aren't a good team. They were poor. They were poor as well. And a 85, 80, 75% version of Aston Villa should have been able to beat Monaco, and we weren't able to do it. And this is why I'm so annoyed at the way in which we fizzled out in that game because there's question marks now over sort of when we have this opportunity, why can't we just get the job done? You know, I want this Villa team to be absolute mentality monsters. I want the end version of Villa under Emery to be this European machine, to be this mentality team that can rock up at someone's backyard, completely suffocate them, control the whole game, create chances, and just win. And I've still got question marks over Aston Villa away from home in Europe. And I've said it so far this season that I want Villa in Europe to be very solid, very hard to beat. If you can't win, don't lose. In Europe, it's so important not to lose away from home because what's going to happen in the knockout phases, you can't afford to lose away. Because what's going to happen is they turn up at Villa Park and they make the game so much more difficult. So it is important, especially if you're away from home first, not to lose. So that is something that I've wanted to see from this European campaign. So I'm just really frustrated that we weren't able to seize the opportunity. And Emery has been absolutely seething within his press conferences as well. I've not seen him like this. And I feel like he's very disappointed and very angry. And I feel like he's absolutely tore up the joint in that changing rooms because of just how I can see him and how I can see him talking. I think he's really gone in on him at full time, and rightly so. So this is what he said. Any of you may be able to go and have a look at this short clip of what I'm talking about. And I urge you to watch it because it is very telling on how he's portraying how he's feeling. So he got asked, you mentioned some players not following the plan and you not being happy with that. Can you give an example of what you mean and what you saw? And Unai Emery goes, can you elaborate on that? He then goes on to say, so you don't think the mentality is strong enough? And Emery goes, we want it and we need it. And that is so telling about where he feels like we are, is that we're not strong enough mentally. We can't go out and be strong enough on the pitch. And that's how he feels. And then he goes on to say, we want it and we need it. And it's so telling. So he's absolutely fuming. He's seething, just like I was, just like I am. And how a lot of you are feeling as well. Because, yeah, we can all see that we had control of the game. The momentum bars show it. The possession shows it, that we had the ball. We were getting into half decent areas. But for whatever reason, we couldn't create and we simply weren't good enough. So that comes from a mentality of where we are. He then went on to say, and he's not holding back here. Like, he's not holding back. We were horrible with set pieces. We had 7 corners and didn't come close to scoring. Like, he's not holding back. And this is because Unai Emery is a winner. He expects so much more. And if it's not good enough, he will say, and this is part of where I'm sort of coming from as well. Like, when I'm saying about, you know, we talk about we're on a journey and we're not the finished article. All these little checkpoints are little areas that we're ticking off to build and become this finished team. I mean, you just can't keep letting yourself down. You know, you can even see within, you start breaking it down and you start thinking, we were loose with the ball. Okay, so you can understand you being loose with the ball from open play, right? Then you look at the set pieces and you start thinking those set pieces just aren't intense enough because they were just whipped in. Keeper comes out, grabs it. There's not a Villa player that's got any ounce of aggression to come out and get his head on that ball. There's not any intensity about anybody blocking off a runner to stop the keeper from coming out. And then we just trudge back to our shape and get set on a restart. Again, not aggressive enough. Mentality not there, not strong enough, not having the desire. So you can start to see how the pattern over a course of a game of being flat with the ball, no intensity on set pieces. It all feels in together and it all stems from the similar sort of place where Emery's doing this. And for people to be fixing up, he's put, we lost and it was my mistake. I made a mistake when I decided to play with two strikers and we lost the positioning because until the moment, we were more or less controlling the game. So Emery admits that he's brought Duran on and two up top's not worked. I said it last night. It's not worked. It doesn't work. It might work depending on the personnel that we've got available. So had we got, for example, McGinn, Onana, Barkley in and around midfield, and then you can bring on those two and you've got those players that are knitting things together. You've got that defensive base. But what we saw yesterday, this was never going to work, right? This was never going to work. And I'll tell you why. You've got Duran up top. You've got Watkins up top. You've put Rodgers on the right. You've put Buendia on the left. You've got Yuri and Kamara in the middle. And then we've got this absolute gaping hole here within this area where, Watkins was dropping a little bit, but, he's not that player. He can't link play as well as someone like Rodgers can. Buendia, inside here, okay. Rodgers out wide. Tielemans can get in there. But this was a big problem of connecting it. And this has been my big problem that when we do go with those two up top, that connector just isn't there. It's not there. And it's very frustrating. And I do feel like Emery did succumb to some media pressure of being asked the same question. Can they play together? Can they play together? And he tried it and it didn't work. So that was very frustrating. He then went on to say, lost the opportunity to be in the top 8. He spoke about Buendia. He has the option to leave, but today we needed him. He played fantastic with his quality, his mentality and commitment to the squad. So, I think, okay, Buendia, really good, okay performance from him. But again, we're talking about mentality here. And we're doing the same thing that we did with Carlos. In the summer, we tried to get rid of Carlos. We tried to get rid of him and we couldn't. And then we rely on him. And just that mentality there of a player that you're sort of saying isn't good enough. We want to get rid of you, and then you're relying on him. We're hearing here time and time again. Buendia is allowed to leave. Really, Emery doesn't rate Buendia. He probably wants him to leave, but now we're relying on him in a big game, and he did play okay. But I just don't get that little message there of he's able to leave, but we're relying on him, and just really frustrating. Really frustrating. If we have a quick little look at the average positions and what we were doing and where we were at, and 31 Leon Bailey, got to see more from him. You know, I'm not someone that really digs out players and goes in on them, and he's just goes in on the players. It's not my style. I don't do that. I like to pick out and see the best in those players, but we've got to start to see a lot more from him. You know, you look at this Villa team and he's actually got the perfect role for him. It's absolutely perfect because all he has to do is stay on the right hand side. He's a player that is a luxury to himself, that he gets to play in his favoured position every single game. You look at someone like John McGinn, who has to play CDM, left, right, off the striker. He's playing in all these positions that aren't really his positions. Rodgers, off the striker, on the left, on the right. You're seeing Konsa play it right back, centre half. Tielemans off the striker, central midfield. And Bailey is stuck on that wing, playing his position that he plays and wants to play in. And he's had, how many touches did he have? I think he had 20 touches. So he had 20 touches. You know, that's showing me that you're not wanting the ball enough. You're not dropping out of that position a little bit and wanting to receive it and wanting to link up. And I just need to see far more from him. And the fact that we've got Marlon now, you know, if we're playing with this five at the back with Cash offering width on the right and Marlon being that player that's playing on that inside right, then Bailey can't play in that position. So a player that I'm expecting a lot more from, and just the excuses of sort of having to not stick up for him, but having to back him and having to try and want him to be better and get back to that level. You know, we've already seen how ruthless we can be, and we've seen it with Philogene. We've seen it that he's come back. He might have been a stopgap. He might have been that player that was just going to come back for 6 months. But at the end of the day, he was a million miles off it, and we've sold him within 5 months. And there are going to be certain players in the summer that get sold. There are going to be players that get sold. There are going to be some favourites that get sold. There are going to be players that get moved on because Emery is a winner. Emery has won at PSG. He's won at Seville. He's won at Villarreal. Everywhere he's gone, really, apart from Arsenal, he has won, and he wants to do the same at Aston Villa. He's not here to just compete and take part. He's here to win. This is a manager that wins trophies. And we have to be better, and we have to strive to be better as well. Because if we just go, oh, you know, Champions League, we're just here to enjoy it. No, we're not. We are here to compete in it. That is what we're in it for. As a fan base, we can enjoy it. We can enjoy the experience, but we still have to strive for the team to win. Otherwise, what's the point? You know, so this whole just brushing things under the carpet because it's a Champions League game and we played okay, and the bigger picture, you know, that we can talk about the bigger picture, and you know, we can go 6 years ago we were in the Championship. The bigger picture is now we're playing in the Champions League. That's brilliant. But the bigger picture for Emery is that in a couple of years' time, he wants us to be winning trophies. We hear about when players come into Villa and what they're being, you know, the ambition that they're being spoken about. They're not coming in and being told we're going to try and compete in the Conference League. We're going to try and compete in the Premier League and qualify in 7th place. These players that are coming into Villa are being told we are trying to challenge in a few years' time for the Premier League. We're trying to get into the Champions League. We're trying to win major trophies. This is all of the things that these players are being told. They're not being told that we're going to come in and we're going to just try and compete and we're going to try and look like a good team, etc. So for me, we can talk about that bigger picture of where we've been. I want to talk about the bigger picture of where we're going to get to. That's the picture that I'm talking about. You know, the vision of the owners and Monchi and Emery is so high that within these performances against Monaco, we have to say that it just was not good enough. So that's where I'm at. I'm just being brutally honest. You know, a lot of you will know that I am very positive, very passionate, very optimistic at times. But when I see something that is just not good enough and not within where I want this team to be, then unfortunately, I'm going to say it. Hopefully, some of you agree. Some of you will disagree, and that is perfectly fine. Everybody is entitled to their opinion. But this is just basically my opinion, and I'm able on this platform to be able to share my thoughts and hopefully get it off my chest a little bit, because we all want the best for Villa. We all want Villa to be really good. And there becomes times where we have to step up. And unfortunately, we weren't able to do that. So we've got some news then on Diego Carlos. He has left. So Diego Carlos, Fenerbahçe confirmed Diego Carlos as new signing from Aston Villa for fee over 10 million euro package. So I imagine it's around 7 million plus some form of add-ons maybe on games that get played. So you're looking at probably at around 10 million. And I said the other day, thanks for, you know, some of the memories of the big games that he stepped up in. But again, we are looking to improve the squad and get better. So these big decisions and big calls on players leaving, you know, will get made. So I think there was some news yesterday and rumours around Barday and Monchi with the price, and Villa looking to hold firm a little bit on what we're willing to offer, and hopefully Seville lower their and accept what we're willing to pay. Basically, it looks like at this moment in time they're trying to get as much money out of us as possible. So I imagine we're in sort of Monchi mode where we are top negotiating. You know, we saw that Marlon took a little bit of time to sort of get it over the line, but once it did, the fee suits both parties. So yeah, just wanted to come on and just share my thoughts on where I'm at really with it all. So I'd be interested to see what you guys have got to say as well. So thanks everyone for watching. If you are new around here, make sure you are subscribing. I'm not normally like this, by the way. If you are new, it is normally quite positive, happy, optimistic, enthusiastic. But you know, I think when I am like this, I think it does show that things sometimes aren't that great and we need to be better and strive for better. You know, I don't come on here and do these type of episodes on a regular. So when I do them, I feel like it is warranted and justified, really. So, yeah, to end on a positive, I just want us to become a real solid mentality monster team. And when we have the opportunity, we really grasp it and take it and build on it, because the league form has picked up. You know, it has picked up. So Yeah, so we'll have the West Ham preview out tomorrow. If there's any more transfer news today, then I will bring the transfer news. So cheers everyone for watching. Thank you everyone who's been watching Transfer Hubs and been watching the channel. You know, this month especially, you've absolutely smashed it. So thank you everybody, and up the Villa.